Get me some wrestling cards.
Yep. Yeah. Did so you didn't watch Dynamite last night?
No. I meant to. I did catch all the highlights.
Wow.
So
That
that was.
that rated R superstar
Mhm.
appeal was a heart clencher, man.
Oh yeah.
Knowing that what he was saying was real,
Oh sure. Yeah.
just added to it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, if you didn't know, but
Because he
you
kept
just knew
slipping
that."
the J and the
Yeah,
Christian. Yeah.
right, yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, man, and then, dude, which I thought the whole reason that they brought him on was actually so the 2 of them could team up, so I was
Yeah.
kinda surprised that he told him to screw off,
Yeah. I
but,
thought that was great though. I was like,
oh, that was
sweet.
so well done, and I will
Those two,
say,
they work well
um,
together. Obviously.
Adam, Cole had a vignette early on
Oh, with Roderick Strong.
with Roderick, yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Cole is nothing without MJF. That whole
Oh.
piece sucked. MJF makes Adam Cole's pieces right now. It just, so
Well, hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're checking us out on YouTube, or actually, we're on Facebook and Twitter at the same time. So, hope all of y'all are doing well. I'm changing my screen brightness because my glasses were glaring like all get out. Trying to not do that. Trying not to blind myself. I wish I had like quick monitor settings.
you wish
that
you
I
were a
could.
baller.
Yeah, there's that too. That would that would. Oh, I don't want that. That color's bad. Okay, we'll go with cool, a cool setting. So, alrighty, that'll be fine. All right, so let's get this episode 100 on the roll, on the
Let's
go,
go.
on the
On
whatever we
on the
want to call
roll, yeah.
it. On the roll. That made no sense whatsoever. It's been an off day of weird caffeine intake. So let's see how this works out for us. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode 100. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chris Martin, and with me, as always, is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you, sir?
Peachy keen, man. Peachy keen.
Peachy keen. I use that phrase and get stared at by the younger people in my office,
Well, yeah, but that's okay.
but that's fine. So,
I can pull off the dad joke and related things now. I'm
yes,
allowed.
yes, you're allowed
So,
to.
yeah,
Well, I want to welcome everybody to episode 100. This is not season 4 anymore. We've decided to revert back to the old numbering just because we can. So, so this is episode 100, and moving forward, we'll just keep calling it 101, 102, and all the other good stuff. So that will probably be the last you hear of that. And Terry's in the house. Hello, Terry.
Howdy, Terry.
And I'm sure we'll have a few other folks along the way join us, which would be cool. So, let me go ahead and I didn't tell Ed I was going to do anything, but let me just indulge me just for a little bit. So we're going to give Ed a watch for making it. No, we're not. A gold watch for making 100 episodes.
Oh, I got the watch.
No. So it's taken us a long time to get to 100 episodes. I think it's about 10 years. We did have a long break there. Many years of long break. But we did make it here. So my goal is to make it to the next 100 in less time. We can make it in like a little more than 2 years, because that'd be 52 episodes. And I know we're going to have it off, there'll be Christmas and those kind of things that'll kind of get in the way. But hopefully in the next 2 years, we'll hit episode 200. Can the two of us talk about Boom Comics for another 100 episodes? Yeah, sure.
As long as they're making them. Yeah.
As long as they're making them. We'll definitely be doing that. I have noticed over the years of doing the show, sort of the way we do it changes, the way our tone about how we talk about stuff. I've kind of gone back and listened to some stuff. I think there was in the early days, there was just excited to be talking about Boom, and we really were, for the most part, really positive about everything, regardless of how we really liked it or not. We were just like, you need to go buy. And now I think in our older age, 10 years later, we've kind of realized, we can still talk about the stuff, from a constructed or constructability and sort of critique it that way. But it's not one of those things, regardless of what it is, just because Boom puts it out, you need to get out there and get it. I agree. There's a lot of stuff that they do is really good or really interesting. Whether or not it's good or not, it's kind of up to whoever's reading it,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
their taste is. So I look at things now as a more interesting. How does it? How is it different from what else is out there on the shelf? So, and we
Well, I
do
mean,
have a lot of that.
most people just mellow with age, you know? That's
It's
all.
true. It's true. So,
We've only got a few thousand, maybe 100,000 more comics, in our system now than we
oh
did
yeah,
10 years ago.
for
So,
sure.
you know,
Yeah, just a
that's
few.
that's gonna change something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, but yeah, so that's cool. 100 episodes. We'll just move forward now. So, we're going to try and do some new stuff moving forward. Some of the old stuff we're going to try and bring back, doing some interviews and stuff. We talked about that last episode a little bit about some folks that we'd like to have on and stuff like that. So we've reached out to Boom to see if they can help us line up some of that stuff. So we're in early talks of things. I'm sure we'll have plenty of folks be on the show in the future. So it's just so we'll let you guys know about who those guests are and stuff like that ahead of time. So if you've got questions and stuff like that that you want to ask or have us ask them, we can definitely do that. I do want to bring up, speaking of uh, potential people to talk to, over on Boom Studios' YouTube channel, they just put up the new episode of Boom Direct, and they were talking to Cullen Bunn, and this is we've talked about them their channel in the past, where once a month they it's usually, what is it, the first Thursday of every
For
month,
Mhm.
so they do both a YouTube version as well as a audio version, a podcast version. The YouTube is usually a condensed version of the interview, and then the podcast is a much longer, sometimes 45 minutes to an hour episode. Not only do they, do the, creator interview, but they also talk about other stuff as well. So
Right. Yeah, on the podcast, not on
on
the
the
video.
podcast,
The
yeah,
video is only interview.
yeah. So it's
And I do
directly.
wanna say, I kinda dug his, studio back here.
Oh
It
yeah,
just
that's
it
well, I don't
really
want to
looked
them all.
really looked interesting to me with the lights that he has
Oh
on
yeah,
there, and
yep,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's maximize that a little bit so you can see a little bit better. But yeah, it definitely had. He talks about, what was it? Not to spend the whole time, but this,
There's what he talked about. Yeah, that's
yeah,
outside. I guess that's like another room or maybe something leading to his studio. But yeah,
yeah,
this stays up all the time,
yeah,
24, 12 months a year. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was kind of neat. So it was a really good interview. They talk about Ghostlore a lot. Talk about, obviously Ghostlore, because the new trade's out for the first volume of it. We'll be talking about issue number 5, which is the beginning of the next story arc. And then they talk about some other stuff. Does Cullen really believe in ghosts? And any kind of, does he have any supernatural
Right.
experiences and
What
stuff
what
like
was the
that? So
spookiest thing that ever happened to him and
yeah,
stuff?
so some good stuff in there. But
The one
Anthony
story
and
about the dude in the apple tree, that was
I
pretty
told I told my wife and
that was
daughter about
pretty
that before we
freaky,
came up
man.
here. I was like, that
Oh,
is
man, that
so.
was
They didn't seem to blink an eye at him. Like, that was like super creepy, man. That would
that's
have
yeah,
freaked me
that's
out as
kind
a
of
kid.
dude.
But Anthony and Harley do a great job with their show, and so, like, I just enjoy the people that they have access to and can
Mhm.
bring on the show and give more attention to the books that they're doing, as well as they talk about other stuff as well. So the last episode they talked to R.L. Stein, so that was we got a little bit more than just stuff of nightmares, and goosebumps and stuff like that. We got a whole litany of stuff from his past, magazines, that he worked on and shows that he worked on and stuff like that. So it was quite informative. So, but yeah, so you can go over to YouTube and look up Boom Studios and check that out. Be sure to follow them for, like I said, they post new episode here on YouTube every first Thursday of every month, and they also post their podcast at the same time, so you can listen and watch all together. So, as far as news goes, there's not a whole lot of news as far as uh, not like previews of upcoming stuff or whatever. We did hear that Ranger Academy #1, which came out this week, has sold out at the distributor level and will be out for second printing.
Yeah.
See if I can pull up the cover here.
Yeah, they're probably holding on to stuff with New York coming up.
Yeah, true. So, but yeah, we'll get a second print, and so that'll be cool. Good on them for selling out of that. I did share a little bit on Twitter when I retweeted this. Is as happy as I am that they sold out of that, I was really disappointed that it wasn't an announcement about Abbott #1 being sold out, because I really think folks be checking that book out. But I also know that it's the third volume of a series of miniseries, and so that may or may not discourage some folks because they're like, "Oh, I didn't read the other stuff." But we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Why that does not matter. It should never matter.
Yep.
Even though Ed says you should start at the beginning. He is not
Yes,
wrong.
I
He's
am I
not
am a
wrong.
firm beginning believer.
The
Yep.
beginning believer.
Yep.
So, all right, we're gonna do something a little different. We hadn't done this in a while, but let's talk about FOC. This is the stuff that is coming, or excuse me, that you have to have your order in by October 9th, which is Monday. Check with your local retailer, obviously. Make sure that you have the right date. Some folks Saturday, Sunday, whatever. Just double check. So let's kind of go in. There's a lot going on here, and again, we hadn't done this in a while, so I'm gonna be a little rusty on this. But I can go ahead and tell you what Ed is ordering is this Boom Studios logo beanie. It's only 20
Yeah.
bucks.
There
It's
you
only
go.
20 bucks.
Hey, you say that. I just ordered one from Stan Sakai this week.
Did you?
Yeah, he has
It is
been
more than $20.
well, actually it is with shipping, but
Oh, okay, yeah.
the shipping was decent on it.
Okay.
They I don't know if they have gotten everything down or if it's just
Mhm.
this product or what, but every month this year 2023, which is interesting because next year is an Usagi anniversary year, but they started doing
Oh,
this year. Every month at the beginning of the month, they release a new merch product,
okay.
calendar, couple pieces of clothing, a teacup, just sundry stuff.
Mhm.
And this month's was a I call it a toque, but a toboggan, I guess, would be
Okay.
more what folks would think of. But and uh, it's got the real plain Usagi Doodle logo. You know, the one
Mhm.
that looks like it was just like 3 or 4 pen strokes that he just
Oh,
doodled
yeah,
it,
yeah. I have seen that, yeah.
with a little colored background on the patch,
Is that the one
and
that's
that's
on
what
your
it's
hat that you've got? The
yeah,
cap?
yeah, the real plain one, not
Yeah.
the really big, design Usagi on the side on the black cap, but this is the black baseball cap, or I guess they call it a
Okay.
trucker's cap now,
Yeah, yeah.
that's got it right on the forehead.
Okay, cool. That's You're just collecting all the headwear.
Yes,
It's
because I am not buying the variant covers.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, I really feel like you get more use out of
tw
the headwear than you do
tw
the variant cover.
$25 a pop beginning
Oh,
before
no.
shipping and handling, and as many as they have been putting out, I'm like,
He was like, I
okay,
got to back off.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got me. I'm
I
just not,
I
I
feel
can't
your
do
pain,
10 or
man.
12 variant covers that even though they're only $25 a
Oh,
piece.
gee, yeah, only.
Now I will say they have advertised what a one shot, 3 issues for a mini, and
Oh yeah,
2 issues of another mini, and I
yeah,
believe between those 7, I have gotten like 2 variants.
right.
So I have cherry picked a little bit, but yeah, I'm not chasing by any means.
You're getting
It's no.
that's the more important thing. You're getting a new mini series, a couple one shot. You're getting new content,
Mhm.
So, and it's according to Terry, he wears headwear every day.
Yeah, he does. He wears something to work every day, and you can see I've got something on here. Yeah, I've even had, somebody, I don't remember who it was, maybe somebody I work with, describe it as a fetish. I had a hat
Oh, okay.
fetish, is what I heard. So,
Well, we all got our thing, I
well,
guess.
I could fetishize, much worse than
Do you
hats
do you do
if
you have
that
a Monday hat, a Tuesday hat, a Wednesday hat?
No, I have a go and look, and what the heck do I wanna wear today hat. That's you know Much like I
That's
pick my attire every day, it's
it's
like, what is I don't know. I just,
just
yeah.
whatever's next in line.
Yeah, although I will say now, here before too long, I will switch from, typically baseball caps, and I'll start wearing, toboggans
Okay.
with the change in the weather, but
Yep.
that's about the only, uh, requisite is that I do
Yeah.
try to pick a hat that fits the weather. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when it rains, I'll wear a big brim, build,
Oh,
like
there you
maybe
go.
a
Yeah.
fedora or something like that if it's
Yep.
raining, so I change it up. But yeah, I just look at I've got hats in, I don't know, 3 places maybe, and I'll just
Yep.
go to one of those places and look and be like,
Grab something
"Yep,
and go.
that's the one." And
Well,
yeah,
you have been chosen today.
that's it.
So, well, here's your opportunity because this will, let's see if it's FOC on the 9th. It's probably what, 3 or 4 weeks out from that. So it'll
Mhm.
be right before Thanksgiving.
Yep,
You'll be
it'll be
getting your,
appropriate.
yeah, it'll definitely be chilly where you are by
Yep,
then for sure. So,
yep.
all right. So let's see. FOC, we've got these the BSE variants, which are the Boom Studio exclusive variants. Um, I'm curious on why these aren't on their website and they're being solicited. Uh, but hey, not my business.
Yep.
So we got the approach number one. We've got a Book of Slaughter one, which I've seen this one before. I hadn't seen the approach one before. And then we've got the beanie. We have Buffy Last Vampire Slayer number 4 of 5 with a couple covers on that one. Literally just a couple too, right there. Um, Ghostlore number 6 of 12. Got a couple of covers on that one as well. And it says of 12, and I am curious. That'll put us, I guess, at 3 arcs.
He
Um,
did say that in the podcast also.
he did, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he brought up Basilisk too. Interesting.
Yes, yes, and,
Uh,
not Empty Man.
oh no, you talked about the Empty Man movie
Yeah,
briefly.
Ghostlore being between Basilisk and
What was the other one? Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah, I forget what the other
yeah,
book
I don't
was
know.
he was talking about.
But all right, so we've got Giant Days Library Edition number or volume 6 on that one.
Oh, okay, can I say it?
Sure.
Gosh, I can't wait. I hope they get back to Lumberjanes to the max and start putting those out again. I'm gonna have to write it
You're gonna
down so that
say that every time? Should
so
we
that I'm at
just
least
record an
consistent.
audio
Yeah,
and
there
just
and just
play
insert
that?
it. Yeah, yeah. I'll be like, I'll
That's what
point, and that's where you
I'm
mark.
gonna
Put it here.
I'm gonna have to go get me the more we do live shows, I'm gonna have to go get one of those Go LXR,
Oh,
streaming
yeah, so that you
decks
can hit a
so I
button.
can just hit the button every time. Yeah, that's what I'll have to do. Things that Ed would say here. That's how formulaic our shows are going to start
It's
getting. Is that
there
we
it is. Yep.
we have the Ed complains about Lumberjane segment. Yeah. Well, maybe who knows? Boombox has got an anniversary next year. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get
I mean,
something special.
the books are there, so, I mean, they can
Oh, sure,
always
yeah,
get around to it whenever
yeah,
they want to.
yeah,
So, I hope they do, because I really like those.
yeah. And it, you know, as long as they don't finish it out, it always gives me opportunities to buy the other ones because I still don't own any of them. You
Well,
know, so I can still
yep.
get them, and then oh look, like 10 years from now, here's some new. Here's the last two volumes. Like okay,
There's
cool.
only
Glad I
only 6, so you might wanna get on that
might
soon.
want to jump on that. Yeah,
Well, it's
I like single issues. That's what all those
I
boxes
do too,
over
but
here are
I
for.
like to support those things that I like, and so I
Oh, I
buy
know.
multiple formats.
There you go. Grim number 10. This is the foil variant for that. And then we have Grim 6. Or these are all the Boom Studios exclusive covers. So I know a lot of folks love this the style of this one with the border and everything because they did that with the exclusive trade paperback for the first volume of
Okay.
Grim. So we've got the Harrower number 1. Man, we picked a good week to do this. It's all the exclusive covers. House of Slaughter number 11 BSE cover, Christian Ward, and then we get to House of Slaughter number 19, which is an actual new book
Yeah, where the series actually is at this
where
point.
it
Yeah.
is right now. So we got a couple covers on there. There's a Spot UV cover. Um, I always like to check those out. That's where we'll just insert what I always say when there's a
There
UV
you go.
cover.
UV. Yep.
And then House Slaughter number 2 BSE cover. Neighbors number 1 BSE cover. And then we get Once Upon a Time at the End of the World Volume 2 trade paperback, which means we'll be in the third arc
Mhm.
before you know it. Let's cross our fingers and we'll see what that's going to be. Ranger Academy number 2, an interesting red cover. Did one have a blank cover? I can't remember. I don't know.
I
I don't
don't
remember
remember
seeing one,
seeing it, not like that, no.
but it makes sense if they would do those. They have all those have the color covers based
Mhm.
off of what the story is. And then Something is Killing, issue number 30 BSE, and then lots of T-shirts from Something is Killing. One for each size. There's large, medium, small, XL, double
Yeah,
XL.
there's not enough X's. They
There's
need to,
not enough. Not for me. There's not.
so, yeah.
So, and I need a tall. I need a tall one.
Yes, preferably. I
Yes.
I could even do with a smaller size if it's tall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, seldom will you find talls, and if that's the case, they don't have a tall, they never have enough X's.
The woes of us who are taller than 5'8".
And this is not this is not comic book related, but it always blows my mind when I look at wrestling t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, the dude on the t-shirt can't wear
Right.
this.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Can't wear your
You
own
know,
shirt.
all the dudes aren't built like Ricky Starks, okay?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You got Paul White.
Yep.
He's not going to wear the same t-shirt
Nope.
as Ricky.
No, he's not. He's gonna wear it as
So,
a headband.
yeah,
That's
really.
about it.
A
That's about it.
sock.
Yes.
That's
Space Between number 1 of 4, some covers there. Specs number 1, BSE cover. Specs number 2, a BSE cover. And then Stuff of Nightmares number 1 of 4, BSE cover. I do like that cover a lot.
that is a pretty sweet
Yeah.
gentleman ghost cover
Yeah.
there is
Not seen
yeah.
that one. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So, but yeah, that's it for uh FOC. It's a lot of ESE covers. If you're interested in those, I did notice because I looked at Discount Comic Services website for the first time in a long time. They have a lot of them listed as well in their order. So it's not just for FOC; they're actually putting them in the catalog. So we talked about it the last episode. They had a lot of them advertised in the back of the previews. It's
Mhm.
probably not. I guess those are the ones that are actually solicited in previews to order, not just off their website. So maybe they put it on their website for a little while. Maybe we can get some clarification on that. but put it on their website for a little while, and then whatever doesn't sell after a certain maybe 60-day or 90-day window, maybe they throw it up there. Because a lot of those things are 3, 4, 5 months old. So
Right. Yeah.
who knows? Who knows the ways of the sill? Is that it? Is that all the other stuff? Yeah. I mean,
I believe that's it.
I
Yeah.
guess it's time to talk some comics.
All right.
Talk about all that stuff. So, what would you like to hit first, sir?
Let's take a look at Ghostlore first.
Alrighty.
Ghostlore brought to us by Mr. Cullen Bunn. He is the writer and creator. Yeah, it does credit that.
Mhm.
Writer and creator, Cullen Bunn. Illustrator and co-creator, I should say, Leo Max. And that's one word. I don't know. For those of you maybe that's never seen the word, it's not like first name Leo, second name
Right.
Max.
Yeah.
It's one word, Macs, Leomacs, Leo Max.
Yeah.
The way they were saying it on the podcast, there was a break.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed
And
that.
when you see it written, there's no break. So I don't know. I can't imagine that the typeset is wrong because
No,
somebody would
because it's in
catch that.
every issue that we've seen it
Right.
that way.
So I guess it's like, and I know this is a bad example, but it's always the first one that comes to mind. I guess it's like Madonna, just
Mhm.
one name,
Yep.
or Ankh, if you will, thinking further back than
Oh,
Madonna.
yeah.
The artist formerly known as.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the book. This is illustrated by Leo Max, colored by Jason Wordy, lettered by Ed Dukeshire, with a short in it, illustrated by Naomi Franquez and colored by Gabe. Uh, I'll say that that's pronounced Gabe Contreras. Several covers, variant covers, and the unlockable variant cover. Wait a minute. If it's unlocked, oh yeah, never mind. And the designers are Samantha Glow and Grace Park. Now, Ghostlore, a father and daughter survive a near death experience and are drastically changed having survived. And I say that having read this issue,
Mhm.
a near death experience, apparently, for whatever reason, is the key to what has
Yeah.
been going on with both they and a group of characters that Harmony meets this issue.
Yeah.
Uh, we have supposed before, what it is, but I
Mhm.
definitely think that you could just term it a near death experience. Is
Yeah.
the At the very least is the trigger. If not, now I wouldn't be surprised either if actually it wasn't near death. All of these people did die, but they were made to come back for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me if that's actually what happened
Yeah,
here.
and that would be an interesting sort of twist to that too, just taking it that one step further.
Hmm. Right. And yeah, something I've noticed also about her group that I'll throw out there. But this issue focuses only on Harmony.
Mhm.
We have branched off. The first four issues were the two of them, father and daughter. She finally, yeah, I don't know, for the good of the organization, left her dad for him, for her reasons, both.
Yeah.
And we pick up this book while she is on her journey. She's getting off a bus. We see the phone, which I thought was pretty cool that he has been calling probably since she didn't turn up at the house.
Yeah.
She never came home that night, or he didn't see her the next day, or, whatever that trigger would be. And she hasn't contacted him at all. Um, I thought it was interesting, and I'm not necessarily sure why, but on what page? Page 3, the uh, top. Yeah, I can't really tell where it is, but the panel of her in the crowd.
Mhm.
Everybody is on their phone
Yeah.
except the one girl. And I mean, I know that's a very common presentation nowadays, but that just immediately struck me. She um, because of what's going on for her. She kind of stands out in the crowd scene, but
Yeah.
everybody else is on the phone. And I
Yeah.
thought, that's, yeah, that's
Yeah,
just,
that makes sense.
it's what it is. But yeah, I mean, see, that's just it. I don't know why it stuck out because TV, movies, other sequential art,
Mhm.
I mean, you see that. That's the representation of modern
Oh, yeah.
society. But
Well, and
it just
and
stood
it
out to me.
pushes a little bit further the fact that these ghosts are looking for someone to listen to them, and that all of these people, even though they're not sort of in tune with them, they wouldn't notice them anyway because they're
Okay,
so absorbed in what they're doing
they're not
for
available
themselves. Yeah.
to talk because they're,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so we see, if this is the first issue that you have picked up the story, you kind of see what Harmony is going through, what her dad also has been going through. She, I don't know if she is more sensitive, but the volume seems to be greater. That's been represented so far
Yeah.
seems to be greater for her than it was for her dad.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe that's why she reacts the way she does. But her reaction is much more uh, intensive, extreme
Mhm.
than what her father was, even in the previous four issues, much less this issue. Now, this issue, I think they really take an opportunity to bring home why
Yeah.
her reactions would be much more intense. I mean, yeah, you can pretty plainly see
Oh, yeah.
looking at the panels. And in the midst of this, we are introduced to Danny,
Yeah.
who also apparently is a sensitive. I kind of
Yeah.
slam those words together. Um, Sensitive to dead people is probably the best way of describing Harmony. You've got the scene in your mind of the, what is it, Bruce Willis movie, I See Dead People.
Oh, Sixth Sense?
Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
which Harmony does, but it's handled differently than what that
Yeah.
was. Um, but apparently Danny does too. It's a young lady, uh, I believe, and if it's not, I apologize, but I believe it's a young. I believe she
Mhm.
may identify as she, her. I don't know. I'll just go with that. I'll stop before I say something stupid. And she kind of helps Harmony. First, she pulls Harmony to herself rather than being influenced by all this external input. She brings Harmony back in. Basically, you can almost see her standing there saying,
Yeah.
focus
Yeah.
on me, and she's talking to Harmony and everything, and she pulls Harmony back in. But then, and I'll address this at the end of the book because this thing happens again.
Yeah.
But apparently, Danny can dismiss the ghosts. Uh,
Yeah, that was an interesting, trick.
um, yeah, yeah, if that's what you want to say, Danny is doing in that panel. I Yeah, I have some questions about that. Um, and so once Danny does that, Harmony is like, oh, oh, thank you. Danny tells her, no, no, don't worry, they'll be back.
Yeah.
And then Harmony kind of tripped out outwardly, physically, yelling and falling to her knees and all this. So the humanity around her at this bus station also, has been turned and is focusing on her. And Danny dismisses them,
Yeah.
and also as she and Harmony are leaving, says, "Oh, yeah, we need to go because they'll be back too."
Oh,
So
for sure, yeah.
I thought that was
You made a slight spectacle of yourself, and so they're gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
paying a little more attention now.
It was an amusing juxtaposition, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
She was able to get rid of both groups with the
Mhm.
understanding that we need to go because both groups will be back.
They're all
It's
coming
not a
back.
fix. It's just momentary. Um, I don't. Harmony chose to go. Like, I think initially, I don't know if they said this. Maybe they did, but I kind of placed Harmony and her family in the New England area. of
Yeah, I felt that way, yeah.
US, East Coast.
That just might
Now
be me reading Stephen King into this, but yeah.
oh, well, yeah. Now it seems that Harmony is more out in the Midwest.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we get images of silos and cornfields and long
Mhm.
dirt roads and all of this um, heartland kind of feel
Yeah.
uh, is where she is now, and that's where Danny lives. Basically, she is taking Harmony to where she lives,
Mhm.
and they're walking. So Danny apparently doesn't have any means. She didn't pay for a cab or she doesn't
Well,
have a
and she
car.
went
So
very willingly.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there was 0 questions. Well, I mean, at least what we see on page, there's not a whole lot. I mean, she does sort of, like, take a step back once she gets to the house, but at the same
Mhm.
time, you've already gone this far and not questioned it. Why did you wait until now to go, "You know what? I need to start asking questions. We've walked a long way."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
out of the
Yeah.
town into the boonies somewhere
Right,
to
yeah.
presumably a house where Danny probably lives with other people
Yeah,
who
exactly.
could take advantage of
Mhm.
Harmony
I was like,
now that
"Why
Danny let
why
her there. Yeah,
now question it?"
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
like, "Alright, cool."
Um, do have an interesting scene here where Danny notices that Harmony self-harms,
Yeah.
but of course Harmony is embarrassed by it, as most people that exhibit that will do. I thought she reacted kind of uh, from my understanding, typically to
Mhm.
someone that asks questions about that. But
Yeah.
what Harmony has done to herself is she's got cigarette burns on her arm,
Yeah.
and Danny noticed that. She got kind of defensive. Still wearing the razor blade on her throat here, though.
Yeah.
Harmony is.
Yeah.
So they go to the farmhouse, and over the next many pages, we're introduced to Ben, Millie, Layla, Lewis, Sarah, and Scott. Different genders, different colors, different makes and models of people.
Mhm.
Just a group of people, much like Danny. Danny looks a little bit different because she's got kind of a street goth kind of combo look going. Just
Yeah.
I thought she looks like somebody that's been living out on the street. Hey, there's Joe Mulvey.
Mr. John Mulvey. Hello, sir. Yes, it is a really good book. Trade's already
Yeah.
out. The trade came out this week,
Uh,
so
yeah, this same week. So I mean, if you're not hung up on the issues, get the trade, and then issue
yep,
5 should be right there next to it.
there you go.
So everybody is kind of normal. I mean, they're just are yeah, I guess normal is the best word for it. Danny and Harmony talk a little bit, and Harmony decides that she wants to prove to people to okay. Let's step back for a minute. Danny says that all of these people that she is living with are like her, which by extension means they're like Harmony.
Mhm.
The assumption is that they can interact with ghosts in some way.
Yeah.
Harmony can see them, she can listen to them. Apparently, when the reason is because ghosts are stuck here until they tell their story, until they tell why they or how they ended up as a ghost,
Mhm.
uh, what they did right or wrong, or just what led to this state of existence that they have. Once they relate that story, they are free to go uh, wherever. Presumably, with the way that the art is drawn, you would assume to heaven.
Yeah.
That's my presumption with the way that the art shows their release from this plane.
Mhm.
You'd have to ask Cullen if that's really what is happening. He and Leo Max, would be the only people really that would
Oh,
know
for sure, yeah.
truly, what is going on. Maybe we'll find out eventually. Maybe not. I mean, it's not important per se.
Yeah.
Um, so Harmony, she really hasn't proven or shown to these people that she is like them. Danny says that she and this group is like Harmony, but Harmony feels the need to show that I am one of you as well. I
Yeah.
want to belong. So she looks out the window. She sees that the house that they're at, this farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, is completely surrounded. I would imagine by ghosts. Now
Yeah.
it's not the big hordes of zombies, like we've seen,
Mhm.
but it's I don't know, 2, 3, 4 ghosts deep.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, there's
so
plenty of them.
yeah, yeah, and they also are all shapes and sizes and makes and models. So Harmony is going to go and do what she does. So she steps out to the front porch. Danny's telling her dog, we just had a bad trip here in town. You ain't got nothing to prove. It's cool.
Mhm.
Take some time off. I believe that you can do this, and just. But Harmony's like, no, no, I need to. I think also more than really trying to fit in, Harmony is doing it because she is drawn to helping these people. I
Yeah.
believe she's that uh, empathetic. I think would be the correct term
Yeah. Mhm.
to want to help them. And so she steps out and makes contact, which is how the passing of the story happens. So I guess it's some sort of psychometric or telepathic kind of
Mhm.
connection. And when she does, she sees the story of the woman she interacted with. Now, this scene, in my mind, takes place in Appalachia. I I can't necessarily explain why. It's a single wide trailer. There's a pickup truck out back. There's a burn barrel. There's an old recliner set up on one side of the yard. There's a pile of trees of tires on the other side of the yard. Some other probably not lawn furniture, probably indoor furniture, but being used as lawn furniture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um, the girl is a young girl. She's a mother. There is a father there. You would assume. I'm sorry. There is a male there. You would assume
Yes.
it's the father. We don't know this. We don't know. I don't think what their relationship is because we never see on the young lady. Sadie is her name. We never see a ring or anything like that. Um, a lot of what goes on in this scene is an assumption. The
Yeah.
two are together, so you assume that they're boyfriend, girlfriend, or married. She's holding a baby. You assume it's her baby.
Yeah.
We just popped into this. We don't have any definites for any of those, but it would it would add texture to the story if those things were the case. So
Yeah.
it's easy just to assume, and just move on with the story.
Mhm.
I do notice in the living room of the trailer here, there's a boob light. I'm always a fan of those. I'm sure your wife probably would like those too, right? I bet this is a
No.
textured
No.
ceiling too. I bet
She
it's
wants me to
textured, Chris.
remove the 2 that we have in our
Right?
ceiling.
Yeah. It's yeah. I
Hate
think
those things.
I think it's on the list of 4 or 5 things that folks concerned about interiors. They're like, no,
Yes. They're
this is
like,
a
"No,
no. That's a
get
no.
rid of it." That
Yeah.
and popcorn ceilings.
Exactly. It never works. Those things immediately when you see them, you're like, oh, that'll change.
You're
Yeah,
like, why was that ever why was that ever a thing? So
it's funny. Some styles of floors, those can stay, depending. Um, Wallpaper, sometimes it can stay, depending. You know, no, boob lights and textured ceiling,
no,
no,
you're out.
those are automatic.
You're
It's yeah.
gone.
So, um, the baby is. I think the baby is teething. That's why there's
Yeah.
a thing here of the baby crying, and you see its open mouth and everything.
Yep.
I think that's why it's crying. The male is shut that thing up. I'll
Yep.
give him something to cry about. Blah, blah, blah. The typical male wife beater reaction. Although he's not
Mhm.
wearing a wife beater, he's wearing a t-shirt. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe a polo shirt, but it's a t-shirt, I think.
Yeah.
So she goes out carrying the baby. She tried to get outside quietly, and she does. Now here I'm not sure at first what she thinks is going to happen. Now they live somewhere, and there's in
I'm
this.
not 100% sure she knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah, But I mean, she did put a lot of effort into getting out quietly with the
Oh, she
baby.
did, yeah, for
So
sure.
that was, she definitely was doing that. Afterwards, um, she tells us there's this old tree out here. She's telling the baby, but of course she's narrating to us.
Yeah.
Old. It's got this old meat cleaver embedded in the trunk. I've never seen a tree with a meat cleaver
Yep.
in it, but
I would
I
steer
can't
clear of
imagine that
that
would.
tree.
Well, I can't imagine that would stay. Some fool would pull that meat cleaver out. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
it's not, so
yeah.
at least some fool around my part of the country.
Right,
That's
yeah.
um, like someone wanted to cut the tree down but didn't have the right tools, is what Sadie finishes saying here. So she goes up to the tree, says that the tree is um, that there are spirits that live in the tree, and she beseeches the spirits on behalf of her baby to give the baby a better life.
Mhm.
And sure enough, some spirits pop out of the tree. Um, they're not the uh, kindest looking spirits.
It's, yeah.
They look like short little critters, skeletons that
Y
are on fire with a green flame.
Yep.
That's the skeletons are black because they're kind of in shadow because of the flame, but they're surrounded all over with this greenish. It looks like flame, and they just ooze out of the tree.
Yep.
You've got the first scene. Various parts of them are still in the tree and out, and like they're just mystically passing through the tree, right, to come out. Uh, so Sadie talks to them, and they're like, "Well, we require an offering," which she had heard also.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I don't have." She said, "I don't have anything to offer," and I thought they were going to kill the child.
Yeah, I did
That
too.
was going to be the offering. I'm like, "Wait a minute, if that what how yeah," but they don't. They take the child physically,
Yeah.
take it um, to where to what I don't know, but
Yeah.
the offering they offer the meat cleaver to Sadie and basically say, "Here, you know what to do." And Sadie ends up cutting her wrist.
Yeah.
Soon as the story is finished, poof, thank you, love and kisses, kumbaya, whatever it is, and the ghost dissipates and gets sucked up into
Mhm.
the great white vortex in the sky. That's with a let's see, what is the Shrazish, yeah, something like a vacuum cleaner, I guess, sucking something up minus the
Yeah.
sound of the motor itself. If you could just hear the suction tube sucking something in, I guess
Yeah.
that's what that's supposed to emulate. And gone. But she notices, and I'm not sure. Let me look here. Yeah, the other ghosts aren't really reactive yet, but Sadie notices that the other folks here that she's with, and again, we were told, so let me give it to you guys. It's Danny, Ben, Millie, Layla, Lewis, Sarah, and Scott. Now, I don't get any significance in the names if there is any. So, uh, there's more than the Beatles, more than the Bee Gees
Yeah.
there. There's I don't know who that would be. Benfold Five plus a couple studio
No.
musicians, or the Dave Matthews Band. Were they that big?
Well, they were that big, yeah.
Well, yeah. So, say
Dave
Chicago, they
Matthews,
were
yeah.
that big. Yeah. So I don't know, but they gave us all the names. She notices they're all holding hands, and they're maybe, and this is debatable. They're maybe controlling energy in the background behind them,
Yes.
or that could be the result of what happened with um, Harmony just now, also.
Yeah.
So you can't really tell. But what happens is this huge vortex of the ghosts, because they form into this vortex, get sucked up into the sky and they're gone. And the moral of the story so far, according to Danny, is that they're stronger together than not. Um, to end the book, Danny tells Harmony that there are people like us who are not like us. They have powers or abilities or whatever you want to call them similar to these people, but they have evil in mind as
Yeah.
opposed to good in mind. Now, with that in mind, both when Danny dispatched the ghosts in the town and what this group did to these ghosts just now, it did not look like the ghosts were enjoying the treatment at all.
No, no, it does not. I'm glad you caught that.
They were being ripped apart,
Yep,
torn to shreds. They did not look um, anything but concerned about even being involved in whatever
yep,
was going on. There was no, oh, sedate look because
yep,
nothing. They were unhappy. They didn't want to be there because ripped and torn and
yep.
all this kind of stuff. Both times. Now, I think that what Danny and this group, my very last note is, nope, don't trust them.
Yeah,
Uh, because I think I don't know that they are necessarily part of the same group that the dude was that we
yeah.
encountered in the
Mhm.
first chapter of the story. But these people definitely are not of the same mind as Harmony, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Now, what they're doing to the ghosts, maybe Danny did just move those ghosts somewhere.
yeah,
I would be surprised, and unless they tell us, we probably will never know because it would be hard to recognize those ghosts if we saw them again.
yeah,
There would,
sure.
they're not, they're distinctively drawn to a point, but that's not the point of having them in a panel.
Yeah,
They're there to represent a concept more
yeah.
than the fact that, well, that one's Danny, that one's Ben, that one's Millie,
Mhm.
that's not so. But yeah, I think that that's what's happening. We'll find out is that they're not helping. They're destroying, not out of malice per se, but just because the ghosts annoy them, they can destroy them. To stop being annoyed, they destroy them.
Right.
That's what I think is gonna be going on with that group of people. And Danny's hope is that in that Harmony has kind of the same abilities, she'll join the group and make the group that much stronger because
Right,
it'll
yeah,
be another person that,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, it's definitely interesting having both her and her dad sort of meet similar type people,
mhm,
on their own, and so these folks are being I don't think that Danny randomly ran into Harmony. I think she was drawn to her,
okay.
much like the other guy sort of went for her dad.
Mhm,
So I do think that's what's happening is that these people eventually are getting drawn to one another.
okay.
Very Highlander esque kind of thing. But as they get more of them in a room together, the stronger they get.
Right,
So
right. So it's not about there can be only one.
right,
It's about the exact opposite,
yeah.
actually.
Well, we need as many
Like
as possible.
modern math. It's yeah,
Yes, it's exactly
like
it's
they
that
teach
common
in
core. Yeah.
yeah, like they teach in grade school nowadays. Yeah, yeah.
How come when I subtract, I'm adding?
Well,
Don't ask
because
questions.
yeah, no, that's yeah, no.
Don't ask. You don't want
Just give the teachers what they want for 10 or 12 years and get the heck out. That's
to
that's all you need to do.
But yeah, I'm still, really enjoying this book. I think it's not a I mean, it is a book of ghost stories with, with an overarching story that tells about Harmony and her dad and everything like that. And there's obviously something bigger going on, but nothing about it at this point is like super creepy or anything like that. It's just
Not yet.
well written stories at this point. Uh,
It's very Cullen Bunn.
oh,
If
for
you
sure.
have read now you need to read a handful of his stuff because he
Mhm.
does do different stuff.
Yeah.
But there is a commonness that he will fall back on with
Mhm.
some of his writings, stylistically, that when you've read enough of the stuff that he's put out and you have encountered that style, you will recognize it when he does it again for
Yeah.
another story.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not saying that in a bad or mean way.
Oh,
Uh,
no. No.
Also, coming to mind, Empty Man, the movie is free on Hulu right now,
Yep. Yes, it is.
as of the 1st of October, maybe all the way through the month at least,
I
being
think it's through the
Halloween.
month. Yeah. Yeah, at the very
So,
least, because I know they've been doing that with, other movies and stuff like
Okay.
that. But
And,
yeah,
off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what it adapts, but there were 2
it's
weren't there
the
2
first
volumes of that?
miniseries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know how close to. I've not seen the movie yet, so I
R
was excited to hear that it was actually streaming on Hulu. So I was like, okay, now finally I can watch it. So and
Oh,
see how close it
uh,
actually
like Med
goes
Cadets?
along with it. You
You're
shut up.
what? Like oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, much like Met Cadets.
Much like that. I'll watch it.
I watched a
Oh,
baseball game last night.
okay.
Is that okay?
No.
No,
Yuck. Ah.
I watched a wild card game.
There
So
were a couple college football games on last night.
that's true. But I watched.
Jackson State, Rich Rod, former coach of, West Virginia, Michigan, and, Arizona State,
I just
has
wanted to make sure the Phillies won.
oh, okay.
I
Oh,
wanted them to
so
play the Braves.
if you hadn't watched, they wouldn't have won? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no,
You
I
were
wouldn't
watching
have.
oh, okay.
No, I wanted to know when it happened. I didn't
Well,
wanna
you coulda
wait.
looked it up in the paper this
I
morning.
know. The
That's
paper. Who reads the
I'm
paper
I'm
anymore?
sorry that yeah,
My granddad
what
used to
even is a
throw the
paper?
paper.
Yeah, it's
I used to help him throw the paper, so
they don't really exist anymore.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, good stuff. Yeah, Ghostlore, go check it out. 100% go check it out. Let's jump into Abbott 1979. This is the first
Okay.
issue of this series. It is written by Saladin Ahmed, illustrated by Sammy Cavella, colored by Dan Jackson, letter by Jim Campbell. Several covers there, an unlockable as well. Designers are Michelle Inkley and Nancy Mojica. So, and I hopefully I'm pronouncing both Michelle and Nancy's last names correctly.
Right, right.
So, like I said earlier in the show, this is the third volume. This is actually the final volume of this particular story. Um, the first series was just called Abbott, came out in 1918, came out in
Wow,
2018. Jeez. It's
dude,
the 1979 that's
it
still in my head. And yeah,
it's as old as Gasoline Alley
it's
coming out, and
it's
wow,
crazy.
dude.
So,
And
so
that first volume was placed in 1972, while we're throwing out all the
yes,
years.
yes. And then in the next miniseries, they decided to go with the years because I think the idea was the first miniseries was there to stand on its own,
Right, and
and
then they
if depending on sales, all that other sales math and whatnot, they felt that okay, we could put out another miniseries, and so they decided to go with the years to differentiate. So the next one was Abbott 1973 that came out early in 2021, and then 79 came out this week. So this is 79. So this is taking place uh, during the. I guess it didn't say if Reagan had gotten elected yet, but it's definitely during the campaign
well, yeah,
because it's in the background. Is
he's
really all.
poised, excuse me, poised for landslide, so it must be, like, approaching November
Yeah,
of '79 because
yeah.
he would have taken office in '80.
So what the both of these miniseries, Abbott is Elena Abbott. She's the lead character. It's a supernatural story. Um, it's very clear if you've not read the previous miniseries, it's not important. I mean, obviously, it gives you additional context to what has come before about her husband and stuff like that. But at the same time, um, it doesn't detract from this first issue
Nope.
at all. It tells you everything you need to know about her, whether it's like literally telling you or just showing you on the page. So
Just the same as you can watch the show without knowing who or how the zombie virus was created.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
it's a question you have, but you can read this and anything else is just background.
Yep.
Some of the questions would be answered that you might have, but I went back through both of those after having read this third series,
Mhm.
and there were still some things that I encountered that I'm like, that they never answered it. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, okay,
Yeah, so it's not critical to have read those.
Nope.
So keep that in mind. So this is taking place in Detroit, obviously in 1979. At this point in Abbott's life, she's been through a lot. She's lost her husband. She's just, again, the whole supernatural thing. She has abilities, which we get to later on. Um, to deal with supernatural things. We discovered in this, that uh, if you took the supernatural element out of the story, it really only encapsulates maybe 20% of this book. The rest of it is a very sort of real world related sort of story. It's a woman who's she's sort of had enough, and she's just looking just to make by, just to get by. As far as like she's, a very well known, very down and serious reporter journalist who has very good investigative skills and stuff like that. But after everything that's happened to her to this point, she's just happy to just do the event page for the magazine that she's working for, and just because it's a paycheck, and she doesn't have to really do much. And her associates have noticed this because they're at a funeral of one of their colleagues, and notice her, and she's just sort of, she looks beaten down. It's just like she's just had enough. And so we get a little bit of this because she goes and has a drink with one of the guys, and they sort of catch up on things. And so he's trying to be encouraging in sort of that tough love, 70s way, which is great. I was like, I've seen this guy in a lot of television
Oh,
shows and a
yes.
lot of movies from that
Yep.
era, and it's perfect. So um but yeah, he's just like, he definitely, cares, that she doesn't just get by, that she gets back to her old self. And so he's encouraging with that.
And I do want to say, because I think that it is important that Abbott, which is her last name, by the way,
Yeah.
is both female and she is black,
Yes. Yeah.
living in Detroit in 1979, working formerly as a newspaper journalist.
Yeah.
So you can imagine a lot of the people that she interacts with or has had to interact with were either male and or white.
Yeah. And
So
the guy that
that,
she's talking to here at the bar, this friend of hers, is a much older white guy.
mhm,
And it's, having seen their sort of relationship just in these few pages, um you know any kind of, racial stereotypes, there are none with this. I mean, the two of
mm-mm,
them are close. The two of them talk candidly with one another. There is no I know better than you kind of thing, other than, like I said before, the tough love kind of thing,
right.
because she needs it.
And that
And
is cool given that she is a black she and he is a white he.
exactly. Yeah.
And two probably 2 generations separate in
Oh
age,
yeah. Yeah,
maybe more.
easily.
So,
Unless he's like me and he just ages very
well,
quickly.
he's had a much tougher life than she has over the last 7 years. Yeah.
But one of the things he's encouraging her is that he knows that there's a television show that has been trying to get her attention. They've been calling her, and she's just been ignoring them, and she's just basically been ignoring life. So she gets home and sort of has to, mull over that, and the phone rings, or she calls someone who, honestly, she plays a bigger role in the other miniseries, and I'm sure we'll see more of her as this miniseries goes on, considering this is the third act of this trilogy. Um, but all you need to know is what's on the page, really, is that there's, something between these two, that, well, really, we'll just leave it at that. There's something between these two, and that her the woman that's on the phone on the other end is possessed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everyone knows it. Like, she knows that she's possessed, and Elena knows, or Abbott knows, that she's possessed as well. So there's no like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, she knows.
Yeah. No,
So
nobody's playing here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I do appreciate that. There's like no like no, he know, we know who you're talking to, and we know who's talking to you, kind of thing. So it's very clear. Um, and so, the rest of this is seeing Abbott dealing with, there's a entity that invades her apartment, and then that's when we see her powers being used in this issue. Basically, it's light and dark. The spirits and the are very, this shadowy figure, and she's able to emit uh, a lot of light energy and whatnot, so to dissipate the shadows and everything. Um, so that's kind of all you really need to know about that. Again, I'm sure we'll get more of that as this goes on, but that's really all. I mean, as far as her abilities, if you want to know more about it, obviously go back in the other two miniseries and you get it. But again, it's not critical to know. It's just like anybody else, any other mutant that has powers, she just has supernatural powers.
Yeah.
Are they magical based? I don't know. Does it matter? No, not really. So, um, but yeah, and that's kind of the gist of the issue. I mean, we do get the interview that she has. The younger guy, this younger black guy who's interviewing her, is not really the interview. That's going to be on Monday. And hey, when you come here Monday, yeah, it'd be nice if you kind of fix yourself up a little bit. Not meaning, hey, you need to be sort of flamboyant or anything when you come in, but she's just like, I look like shit. I understand.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
yes, I did not want to say that, but that is exactly the situation. So,
You
uh,
you do find out in the course of the first part of the story also that Elena or Abbott
yeah,
also has a brother.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so don't know, he may or may not play a part in this particular story, but he's there.
yeah,
So
yeah. He's at least there. So yeah, and then the issue ends with the cliffhanger of the entity arriving again at her apartment and getting the upper hand on her. So, um, but that's sort of the gist of it. So, again, it's very self-contained. I think you can do well just reading it on its own, but I do encourage you, if you do give this thing a try and you do like this first issue, to go back and check out the previous two miniseries, because I think they're pretty good. The art in this, by Cavella and Jackson, is really good. There are times it lends itself to sort of a Ron Lemish kind of art style. At times, it was sort of the only, like, if I hate trying to find comparisons, but for folks who may not, have seen this book, this is kind of the art style it is. It's close. It's the only thing I really come up with that would be comparable to, um, in most of the artwork. Not really Jim Starlin, but definitely a sort of a Ron Lim style. So, but yeah, good book. I enjoyed it.
very much so. As far as the previous two chapters, more happens in the second chapter than in the first
Mhm.
chapter. It truly was, looking at all three. The first chapter was really a lot more setup, whereas two dropped you into a story from the
Mhm.
beginning of the second chapter, and then now, 6 years later, we can see that this third chapter, uh, I mean, it puts you into the story, but there's kind of no story. I mean,
It's
nothing.
very much aftermath. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's nothing
not even
actively.
aftermath, it's way after.
Yeah, she, her life is completely, completely. I don't think what she ever intended.
Yeah,
Um, she's not particularly happy with it. It's like it's 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 the bottom. She
yeah,
has hit bottom. So in a lot of ways, there's not a story per se. She is the story.
yeah,
She's just hit rock bottom, as we see, and hopefully this will be I guess, kind of a redemption, if she
yeah,
needs to be redeemed, story. But hopefully it will, at the very least, be her pulling herself up, or getting up off the bottom
yeah,
into some semblance of who she was and what she had
yeah,
before, as detailed by the previous two chapters. But you don't need those chapters to understand
yeah.
that that's what's going.
It only it only fleshes out the world and
Yeah,
fleshes
yeah,
her out
it's
quite a bit. But again, having come into this, I mean, the last miniseries is a little, it was only about a year ago, so it's not,
mhm,
or 2 years ago, so it's still kind of fresh. But yeah, that first miniseries, that was 2018, so
okay.
there was definitely a huge gap in that. And again, I think it was more as looked at as a self-contained story that left things open if there, the opportunity arose to, I don't know if it was even developed as a trilogy. It just sort of, after the fact, like, okay, we've got, now that we have the ability to tell some more stories, this is how it's structured. So, and that, I think that's why the second mini series had so much to it. They were like, all right, we're gonna, now that we have the opportunity, we're just gonna go all out. So,
Good
but I don't
stuff,
know.
though.
Yeah, it's good though. Definitely. All right, let's you take a look at Power Rangers number one. This is written by Maria. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Maria Ingrate Mora, illustrated by Joe.
Okay, let's take a step back. What's the title of the
Okay,
book?
what?
What's the title of the book?
Ranger Academy?
Yeah, you said Power Rangers issue number
Did I
1.
say Power Ranger Academy?
Yeah, I'm like, um, you're burying the lead there, dog. What are you
Sorry, I
doing?
was
What?
I was I was literally
Yeah,
looking at the credits page and it says Ranger Academy Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
And,
Yeah, it's
and so I
this is Ranger
just
Academy number 1 he's looking at.
my dyslexia, no dyslexia,
Okay.
kicked in and decided let's
Oh.
just scramble words.
And I would say, Joe Mijong. Um,
Okay.
I have no idea, though.
And then color by Fabiana Mascolo, lettered by Cardinal Ray and Ed Dukeshire, covers by Miguel Mercado
Covers,
and a bunch of other
man.
colors.
Yeah.
There's a bunch. And then designer is Madison Goyette. So um I think a quick way of talking about this is, did you pick up the free comic book day
Yes, I did.
copy of this? That's two-thirds of this issue.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 75% of this,
Yeah.
maybe you said? Yeah, a
And
little
we
bit at the beginning wasn't in there, and,
yeah,
more of the end wasn't in there, but most of the middle, yeah, was
yeah.
that free
So
comic
when
book
we
day.
talked about that particular issue, yes, ditto. It's all, yeah. Because I started to go through it like, oh, because I thought, okay, that free comic book day is the prelude to this
Right,
series.
yeah.
That's what I expected. And I got about 3 pages into it, and I'm like, "Wait a second, this
No.
feels familiar."
Yeah, this is too familiar.
And I was like, then I just kinda, like, flipped through the page. I'm like, "Wait a second." And then I was starting to get disappointed because I was like, "Oh, crap, they just gave away, like, the whole first issue for free before this issue." And then we get more to it,
Yeah.
as we go. So I was like, "Okay, alright. I'm not upset anymore. I, I mean, I kind of am. I kind of wish that had been the prelude, where we just got a brand new, story or continuation of what that. But I get it. It's, not everybody picked up the free comic day book. Um, so yeah. So the gist of the story is we have uh we have two cadets who overshoot their target as far as where they were headed in their shuttle and land on a remote moon. Um, and in doing so, run into uh, I guess, a teenage boy,
I I think it's a
a,
she, and I
a
think she's
she,
a nerf herder.
a nerf herder. Yes,
Yeah, I think that's what she's doing is
that's the
she's
easiest
herding
thing to say.
nerfs. Yes.
Yes, but her name's Sage, and so Sage's father, who I'm not 100%, and I may have said this back in our
Mhm.
earlier review. I'm not 100% sure that that's actually Sage's dad.
Yeah,
I think it's someone,
biologically,
yeah,
yeah,
not
I think so.
biological. I think it's someone who is uh, promised to take care of Sage, regardless of what the world throws at them, and that's what his intent is. He is definitely, as we learn in this issue, very knowledgeable of the Power Rangers, the
Mhm,
morphing grid,
mhm,
um, just technology in general, especially their particular technology, because he's able to get their shuttle back up and was like, I can't believe you went to the academy and you don't know X, Y, and Z already as far as how to fix your, shuttle and this and that and everything. Um, his intent is to get them off the moon as quickly as possible. He wants them just gone. I think his intent is to keep him and Sage as cut off from the rest of the universe as possible. And I think that's more of a safety thing for Sage than it is I'm trying to forget the world kind of thing. I think it's more of a safety thing. Um, but Sage being, you know, excited about these new people that they've come in contact with, uh and all of the stories that they've started to tell them about the academy and all this other, stows away and manages to get to the academy. And so that's where the new content
mhm,
from the Free Comic Day takes place. And so we get sort of a brief introduction to the academy through that, through Sage's eyes, and a little bit of questioning, like, there's this red campus. What is the red campus? All this kind of stuff. And why is there a floating head over there? Oh, that's a one of the legendary Red Rangers. And like, what's a Red Ranger? Those kind of things. We're gonna live sort of through Sage's eyes, through this, at least through this, we'll say the first arc. I have no clue how long we'll do it, but it's an interesting concept to, I mean, I'm assuming this takes place in the far flung future of the Power Ranger mythos, because we're talking about Power Rangers in a past tense and things of that nature. But uh but where was I going to go with that? But we are seeing that there are way more Power Rangers now coming through this academy. I do think an interesting thing about this particular issue is that it has a Ranger Academy orientation guide in the back. And so it briefly kind of explains, a little bit about the academy, a little bit about each of the uh, campuses, which are the different colors. It explains like year one, year two, three, and four of a student being at the academy, what those particular years are focused on as far as learning. One is just trying to find if you're even connected, I guess, to the morphin grid. The other one is Another one is you finding your Zord. Another one's finding your team. And then another one is just being taking all of that and learning how to work as a team. So there sounds like there could be multiple teams of Rangers, all over the universe at this point. Um, and then we, learn a little bit. I mean, it's an orientation thing, so you learn a little bit about the different rooms and the spaces and stuff like that. Um, so it's a neat little orientation guide. I don't know if we'll get more of that. You know, I thought about you when I saw this. I'm like, I wonder if we're gonna get like one of those cutaways
Uh,
of the, because this is a very uh it's a large dome with a bunch of smaller domes around it, and so
mhm.
I was like, oh, there's definitely potential for some maps here and some
Yeah.
cutaway, you know, things of old. If you're an old Marvel or DC fan, when they used to do the
Yep.
cutaways of the Titan Tower and the X Mansion and stuff like that. So you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if we're going to get more of that, or if this was all we're going to get, or even a one shot. That'd be kind of neat. Anyway, um, but I did like the issue. I like the new content. Obviously, we didn't get a lot of it, but it does sort of round out this particular story that we had already gotten in the free comic book day. Um, I am I feel like I am coming in on the ground floor of something,
Oh
even
yeah.
though it is tied into a much larger universe of characters. So I definitely will be keeping up with this a lot more than I was with Power Rangers, the other Power Ranger books, just because of that. I feel like I don't have a lot that I need to learn, and I feel like I can learn along with Sage, so that'll be fun. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a great looking book. I mean, the art is very nice. Coloring is great in it. Yeah, and it's just kind of curious on where we're gonna go with it. So,
I probably should apologize. I don't know for sure. It's just my impression that Sage is a she.
mhm.
Also, there's the character, one of the two individuals that she first encountered, Mathis.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Either Mathis or Sage are non binary. I
yeah.
remember that being said when the Free Comic Book Day issue came out, but I don't know if it was which it was or if it's both. So,
Okay.
no offense intended to anyone out there. Um, Tula strikes me as a girl. That's
Hmm.
the other of the two people she met.
Yeah.
But honestly, Sage and Mathis, I think, are written in such a way that I can't judge by what I've seen on this page the gender of either. So
Right. Yeah.
one or both could be non-binary at this point.
Yeah.
So that's my wasp ness coming out in assuming that Sage is female.
Yeah.
The character may not be.
Now I am curious on what we're going to get from Sage's dad. I mean, obviously he has discovered that Sage is gone, so
Oh,
I
he will
don't
show
know.
up at the academy.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. It's
Oh
just,
yeah,
is it going to be next issue, or is it going to be? Are we
I
going to
don't know, but
find he
he
had a
he's going to
ship
go
or
to bring her
something?
home. That's
Oh
for
yeah.
sure. Because
Oh yeah.
the way he was acting, there is no way he'll be content with her being in the Ranger
Yeah.
Academy.
Like,
No.
kids.
Well, it'll be good.
It'll be
No,
fine.
that is not going to be what happens.
That was a very determined person to get those cadets off the planet as fast as possible.
Yep. And I quickly see that, he's going to show up at the academy.
Yeah.
Somehow he's going to know who is in charge at the
Oh
academy
yeah, yeah,
because when he tries to force his way onto campus, that is invariably who he will ultimately
yeah.
see as whoever's in charge. There will be some history there,
Yep.
who knows, but
Oh,
yeah,
and I hope so. I'm looking.
that's
It feels. I hate to say it feels obvious that he is either a former ranger of some caliber
right.
that we may not know exactly who he is, but we may know of what group of rangers he's from, whatever. I do feel like we're going to get that kind of,
Mhm.
like, oh, and then everybody's gonna be like, oh my god, be like, can't believe it, that I expect it and I'm looking forward to it if it happens. If it doesn't happen, I might be slightly disappointed.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's like,
Like,
"What?
I want the drama. I
You
want
let
the
that go by and didn't
yeah.
use that?" Yeah.
But maybe you skip over it because it is so obvious,
No, man. No way.
like, but we'll
No,
see.
because
We'll
we've
see.
gotta learn who he is, and
Oh
that
yeah.
that would be the way that
Yeah.
you will learn is
Yeah.
by some confrontation and his explanation of, "Well, this is why I don't
Yeah.
want you here doing this."
Mhm. It'll be
Yeah.
something like that, but
Yeah.
that'll be fine by me. I'm good with it.
Yep.
Um, so and then the last book is Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer #3. I'll be honest with you, I read this particular issue and felt like missed I felt like I missed the second issue. And if that more than likely after long debating it in my own head as well as talking to Ed about it pre-show, I think I missed the first or the second issue for some reason. um, so there's a big part of this issue um, that I feel like I didn't understand because I missed that stuff. I missed that information. Other than that, the I'm still trying to I'm still trying to come to grasp with Buffy herself and her need to be, we'll say, quote unquote normal, or at least present herself as normal, and not her depiction is very strange. It was in the first issue. Um, and it's definitely a departure, at least for me it's a departure of what she's been like in the previous Last Vampire Slayer stuff. So I'm going to go back and reread the first 3 issues again, this issue and the previous 2, reread those, and then when we get to issue 4 I'm going to come back and talk more about them. I didn't really want to dive too far into this issue because I feel like I missed 2 and I feel like it's important that I read it before I really go too far into it. But that issue did come out this week. Um, and those are the only just the 4 issues that came out this week. We did get some trade paperbacks. We got a deluxe hardcover. I did want to mention the deluxe hardcover is we only find them when they're dead. It collects the first, or not the first, but collects all 15 issues of that series. I didn't know if you have seen it or seen in the back. It has not a map, but has a timeline, like a
No.
4-page timeline for this series. And it is amazing. Like it is
Oh,
straight up
well,
like
dude.
years
Okay.
and I was like, okay, we're gonna have to come back to this and like really dive into some of this stuff. I mean, and I say we meaning me, just on my own when I'm reading it again, but having sort of these dates and stuff like that, because there was a lot of that. I mean, there was a lot of present day and then sort of flashing back a couple of years and then moving back to the present, those kind of things. There's a lot of that happening throughout that series. And while it didn't take away from anything going on in the series at the time, there definitely was some missing time. And I was very curious what was going on during all that. So I'm curious if that timeline provides that information. So
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that is a nice one.
yeah. So I was like, oh, I want to break that one out and take a look. So, but yeah, so if you've picked up that deluxe hardcover, congrats on you because that's a beauty of a book. If you pick the slipcover version, I'm slightly jealous because I do like a good slipcover, but this is definitely one that I felt needed to get broken out of the plastic and flip through because it is one of my favorite books. Um, that and now I'm waiting for the Seven Secrets deluxe hardcover that has not been announced yet. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm waiting for that to be announced. Hopefully in the next couple of months would be great. I'm just saying, let's pace these things out. But I also know we need to get a second volume of Once and Future out, and we need to get. I don't think it's time for something is killing yet. We're getting close. Once this current arc ends, then you can do another one of those. But yeah, so I do enjoy these deluxe hardcovers that they've got coming out, but they are a bit pricey at times. So keep them spaced out like you got them, and I'll be a happy camper. All right. I mean, that's it. That's all the books we've got to talk about. Anything else before we head out?
No, sir.
All right. So you can come on the website at boomaddiction.com or comicaddiction.net. Same two different doors, same house to come into. So you can do that. You can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at boomaddiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions and follow me at Chris Parton. Those are the easiest ways to hit up both of us during the day, unless you just want to email. If you want to email us and something to talk about here on the show, please do so. Make a note of that in this subject, like for the podcast, and we will definitely talk about it here on the show. You can come to our Facebook group, which is Fans of Boom Studios. You can follow, search for that, and that is where Ed works tirelessly into the wee hours of the night and the morning, finding links all over the internet about Boom Studio stuff. I slightly jest. I feel like he puts a lot more work into that than I ever than I do on the website. But yeah, it gives us all the information about things that are going on, press releases, previews, and stuff that's happening on other websites and podcasts and stuff like that. So it's a good bit of information if you're ever looking for it. So you can come by the forums at Just Another Fanboy at Freeforums. Oh God, freeforums.net.
Yeah. .freeforums.net.
I know what it is right before I say it, and then I still question it every time because I do this whole closing thing off the top of my head, and I always have it in the back of my head, like I know that's right, but right when I say it, I'm like, is that correct? So put a question mark at the end of it just on my own. So is what it is. So I want to thank everybody for checking us out here for episode 100 and any of the 99 previous episodes that you have checked out over the years. Thank you very much. Some of you have been listening to us for a long time. Some of us are just joining, and I thank all of you. I think it's great that you're on board. Hopefully, you're checking out some Boom books along the way. If you do, let us know. We always get a kick out of what everybody's checking out. Joe Mulvey talking about possibly getting into Ghostlore tonight. In our chat, we obviously have Mr. Rios, all the books that he has been checking out, that he's found out about through us. Two pretty good examples, I think. So we enjoy what we do. We enjoy talking about these books, and we wouldn't recommend anything to you if we didn't think it was worth your while. So give them a shot. Let us know what you think. So other than that, I want to thank you, Ed. I don't want to thank it. No, thank you, Ed, for joining me for all these episodes, as well as tonight. And we will catch all of you next week. Wow. Next week with episode 101. Goodbye. Thank God. I need to get out of here. Jeez. Holy cow. Yeah. I didn't realize I'm as tired as I am at this point. Oh, words do not know how to form in my mouth. Either that or my brain is trying to kick them out of my mouth faster than my mouth can do it. So, yes, thank you very much. So, all right, if you're checking us out here in the in YouTube land, we're going to sign off. But thank you very much for checking us out, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye, folks.